Praise Yodewabe.
Welcome to, or shall I say, Boca Shalom.
Boca Shalom.
Boca Shalom. Here we are on the East Coast of the United States of America, North America. In the land where our people that are known as Judah, the tribe of Israel, the fourth tribe of Israel that was brought into bondage. I guarantee this happens here. It frees us up a lot.
We back live.
The background?
Back live.
Praise the Lord. Let's see how long this lasts. We are inviting, we're on live stream today. We are inviting those around the world on this planet to join us during our daily breakfast. We're not selfish. We are in search for our people. As I was saying a few moments ago, here we are on the East Coast of the United States of North America, the land where the fourth tribe of the 12 tribes of Israel were brought into bondage a little over 466 years ago. It's recorded in the archives that the first Negro slave was sold in a state, an auction block that's called Florida, St. Augustine, one of the oldest cities. In 1555, the first Negro slave, they have an auction market there. So it's a memorial now. It's a tourist attraction. Not much to be attracted to. Now, I don't call it an attraction when you're selling our people. It's human cargo, livestock. Now, that's not much of an attraction, but today, that so-called slave market is now a tourist attraction. There's a monument at that former slave market that says the first Negro slave was sold here in this spot in 1555, St. Augustine, Florida. And here we are in the city that's a little south of that, St. Augustine. It's called Miami of Florida. That's where we are. That's where my father came in 1979 in search for his lost sheep of the house of Israel, known as Judah, along with his Christ that was prophesied to be in the same city. I think you'll find that someplace in the Bible. King James Version, Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 2. Speaking of Bibles, if you're going to join us as we welcome those who are on social media, join us with your Bible and your study tools. You have a concordance, you may want to grab that. Grab your dictionaries. Grab your Sam Finder, all your study materials that you study with. Most importantly, we encourage you to take notes. So grab something to write with and something to write on. As we continue to invite you to join us for a few minutes, we're going to take a couple minutes of your time to join us. Some of our people at the church, we're going to get to that in a moment. For the record, for the sake of the recording, by our calendar, the solar calendar, we recognize today on the 10th day of the first month of our next year, Our solar year is recognized by the Special Lodge as 6024. 6024. And for the record, for the sake of recording, this is known by the Gregorian calendar, Pope Gregory the 13th calendar, as Sunday, March 21st, 2021. Again, that's Sunday, March 21st, the third month of that calendar. 2021. With that said, we welcome those to international headquarters here in Miami, Florida. This is international headquarters. It was destined, it was ordained to be that by the Grand Master of Church Lodge, the one who raised me, resurrected me and became a light unto me, as I said he would. In the book called Micah chapter 7 and verse 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that whole passage there in the Bible, King James Version, chapter 7, is prophetical that has now been fulfilled, with a few more verses to be fulfilled. I have yet to see her. I'm going to speak to her soon. And my eyes shall behold her, according to Micah chapter 7, verse 10. I pray my eyes are beholding her now. If she's watching, Kamala, good morning to you, wherever you are, and Joe. Throw them in, Joe. Throw them in, Joe. Praise your Lord.
Praise your Father.
What is our motto? What is our motto?
Our motto is one Elohim, one mind, one Ahab, and one action,
We're all for one.
and one for all.
We want for our brothers and our sisters.
What we want for ourselves.
What about soup?
If I have a bowl of soup, you may have half my bowl of soup,
Anything else?
and anything
But
else.
you must bring your own bowl. We don't know what that bowl is. That bowl was shown to Zechariah. What about soup?
Have a bowl of soup, you may have half my bowl of soup.
If I have a bowl of soup, you may have half of my bowl of soup. In that bowl is called manna. We never identified. My father was here in the flesh. Speaking of Father Ab in Hebrew, Aleph. Let me testify to you for a few moments of my Ab, my father, who many are still calling in this country, his own people are still calling him, and I quote, Yahweh ben Yahweh, end quote. That is not a name. Although that's English, my father is not the God of England. The Tetragrammaton, he's known in dictionaries as the Tetragrammaton. That's 3 Hebrew characters. Three Hebrew characters. If you look over my left shoulder and to the right of your screen, you should see a photo image, a popular one, that he took while he was with us here on this planet, in the flesh. And if you look in front of the podium that you see on the screen, you'll see the Tetragrammaton. That's 3 Hebrew characters. 3. And some probably say, well, I see 4. You do not see 4. That's why your mind is blinded. And I've come to remove the veil of your mind, of your heart, so you can see and also count. That's 3 Hebrew characters. However, one of the 3 is positioned twice. You got that? One of the 3 is positioned twice, and they are from right to left. Yod, He, Wav, and his twin, identical, He. That's a set of twins. Yod, He, Wav, He. That's the Tetragrammaton. And it means the existing one. That name means the existing one, the all-living existing one, the all-living. Also known in Appalachians as the Ancient of Days, the Mighty God. And that's whose photograph you see over my left shoulder, right on the screen. And many of my people still call him again by the appellation known as Yahweh ben Yahweh. In English, the Tetragrammaton, Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, is known as Yahweh, translated Yahweh. And that's who he is, Yahweh. If you want to refer to him in English, instead of England, Yahweh. And in the Middle East and Israel, he's known as Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. And in Jehovah's Witnesses Church, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they recognize him as Jehovah. And those reggae artists in Jamaica, they refer to him as Jah. Where did they get that from? Someone turned to the book called Psalms, in chapter 68. Let's see where they get Jah from. And someone read verse 4. And make sure you speak nice and loud in the microphone. I know you have it. That's Psalms chapter 68, verse 4. You have it? Would you read that, please?
Psalm 68:4. Sing unto God, sing praises to his name. Exalt him that rideth upon the heavens, by his name Jah, and rejoice before him.
They have in the Bible, in King James Version, 1611 edition, J-A-H. And most people who do not know, especially those who have become victims of the book called Isaiah, chapter 29 and verse 10, they've been put in a spirit of deep sleep. They say Jah, but there is no Jah. There is no jelly, there is no jets, and there is no Joe. So you jive, and there is no jive. Jerk. There's no jerk, there's no jive, and this is no joke. There's no J. So how could his name be Jah? And yet, at the end of the word that's known as hallelujah, there's those three letters again. The very last three letters of hallelujah. J-A-H. You do not pronounce the J as a J. There's no joke. It's Yah. That's half of the Tetragrammaton. That's Yod He. The other half, Wab He.
Okay.
So that's hallelujah. Yah. So our Rastafarian, Jamaican artists, and most of those are our people in Jamaica. They're from Judah.
Glory.
See, Judah? There's no Judah, there's no Jew. Yehuda.
Praise your
Hey.
Lord.
Yehuda. There's no J before 1625 in the English alphabet. This is the Guinness Book of World Records, 1993 edition. In this book on page 77, I believe, or 141, in this book, it tells you that the letter J, the newest alphabets, the two newest alphabets to be added to the English alphabets are the letters J and V. In 1625, post Shakespearean use. So there is no J. That means there is no Jesus. This white boy does not exist. There is no Jesus. He's a faggot. Don't you see how he have this?
Yep.
It's a faggot. Yeah, this is what the United States government oppose. This is what they enforce. They enforce homosexuality and gay rights. That's a bomb. That's a bomber. Yeah, that's a bomber, ain't it?
Okay.
Gay rights. Anyway, we thought we'd bring that bad news to some people who are in church right now. Church. They're in church right now. Church. Listening to and being entertained by false prophets and false clergies of the world. So here we have with us the truth.
Yes, sir.
And that was brought here by the truth. This book that my bro, this book, I found 50 appellations that begin on page 18. I believe it goes all the way to 29. And in this book, among those 50 appellations, on page 27, actually on page 29 of this book, I put him down as one appellation known as the truth. He is the truth. He also made an announcement and a thesis at the beginning of this book. Here's the same photo. It's another photo. Actually, it's similar to the one behind me. It's a black and white photo image. He made a thesis. In one of his books, I'm going to read it. This may be news to some. I have to read. I'm being told to read this. And I'm going to quote it. I'm going to quote it verbatim. He announced his whole planet who he is. In all of his books. This is just one. I have all the books that he wrote. I have all of them. I read all of them from cover to cover. I ordered them by way of mail from the Peace Foundation. I'll give them credit for that. I'm not giving them credit for what they're doing today, but I'm giving them credit. I also say Toda to them today. Toda, thank you for sending me these books while I was lodging and dwelling in the Bahamas, incognito. And this particular book I had since 1993. It reads to the bottom, it's, I quote, Shalom Aleichem, period. Period. Shalom Aleichem. I continue to quote, I am the Grand Master of the Celestial Lodge, architect of the universe, comma, the blessed and only potentate, comma, and I am the founder of the nation of Yod-Hid-Wahe, comma, true holiness and righteousness, comma, the kingdom of Shalom, comma, which is the most powerful knowledge of peace in existence. Period. Now, if you have a problem with that, you have to take that up with him. I did not write that. I did not print it, neither did I publish it. He did that. So if you have a problem or two of accepting the fact that he is the mighty God, the architect of the universe, Yod-Hid-Wahe, Yahweh, then you take it up with him, not with me. If you want to send your comments, your ridicule, your molest comments, your scorn comments, your ignorant comments, then send them to him. You'll find him in the heavens where he soars and flies above the heavens by his name, Yod-Hid-Wahe. Just make sure you rejoice before him. As it says in Psalm 68:4. He's the God of all gods, according to Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 17. He's Lord of all lords and King of all kings. He's great, good, mighty, and while you're taken up with him that you don't like of him, let me remind you also that he's terrible.
Okay.
He's terrible. He kills, he makes alive. He wounds and he heals.
Glory.
Now, if you study and look at what's going on this planet, around the world, this planet today, floods, they had how many earthquakes yesterday in different places, diverse places, just like my soul left record that they would, that you can find in a book called Matthew, chapter 24. This is that day. These are the days, the last days. A volcano erupted for the first time in 6,000 years. Suck that on, suck on that. Suck on that for a moment, but make sure before you suck, you must realize it's hot. It's called lava. Floods in places that you wouldn't even think of where floods are taking place right now. Australia. It's flooding in Australia. Even the dam is saying, damn, it's too much water. Australia. See, Australia had a part in taking place and taking hold on my people that's called Judah. They were part of that, so they're being judged. As it said they would be judged in Genesis, the book called Genesis, not Genesis, there's no J. Genesis chapter 15, verse 14. They're being judged. Japan, earthquake, Asia, Moab, Yorubites, being judged. Brazil, Many countries in Africa, the continent of Africa right now, are being judged on type of phenomenal natural disasters that happen. Even right here in the United States, called America, tornadoes, whirlwinds, according to the book called Nahum, chapter 1, and verses 2 through 13. Natural disasters, tornado. A hurricane was reported yesterday in March. Not even spring yet. Can you imagine a hurricane was reported? There's a hurricane blowing someplace in the tropics and somewhere in Asia, that side of the world, the planet. Hurricane? And it's still snowing.
Still snowing.
Blizzard. In this country. In the Midwest to West.
Texas.
Texas had snow yesterday. Texas. See, the reason why Texas is being snowed upon is because they want to tax us. So those who didn't file for their annual tax us, we decided to cool things down a little bit and tax us, Texas, with some snow and blizzard and car crashes, killing a whole bunch of folk. Yeah, Texas. And soon that snow is going to melt. It's going to get hot. When that snow melts, it turns into, let me take a guess. I'm going to take a guess. Yep, I guessed right. Praise Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh.
We invite you and welcome you to join us for a couple more minutes on our social media live stream. This is our daily breakfast. Again, we're on the East Coast of the United States in a city called Miami. This is a place where the same ones who are testified, still testified of Yahweh, the mighty God, is where he chose to place his name here.
Nice.
And he ordained, once again, he ordained this, and he stipulated this place as being international headquarters in Miami, Florida. At one time we had a building a few blocks from here that was known throughout the world as the Temple of Love. The Temple of Love. And now we're here a few blocks away from that today. It's called the Kingdom of Shalom.
Okay.
That's where we are right now. The same suburb in Miami is called Brownsville. The very same Brownsville that he first come to as Moses Israel in 1979. I was there.
Praise Yahweh.
So, if you are in search for the one whom he raised, that he said he would raise in Deuteronomy chapter 18, again in verse 18, then look for the one who was with him before the beginning. His soul is mentioned in the book called Micah in chapter 5 and verse 2. And he'll be right in the middle of Daniel and Malachi. You got that?
Okay.
Okay, now, that means what I would like for someone to do, just for the record, let's go to Revelation chapter 1. Now that I have testified that my heart, and also, he's also the true and only living God. You can make a note of that. The only true and only living Elohim God. That's according to Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 10. Will someone read that, please? Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 10, for the record. The true and only living Elohim. That means all of the gods are false. False. Would you read that, please?
Jeremiah 10, verse 10, and I quote, "But the Elohim Yod is the true Elohim."
Is it true? Now, see, in order for that to be printed, see, that was printed for those who make such errors. The Bible was not written, just for the record. And for those who have printed that in the Bible, are those who know that they are false gods. Excuse me?
Okay.
I repeat, that was printed by those of England. the theologians of England, about 47 of them,
Okay.
they got together with about 7 elders of Israel to translate the scrolls for them. And that was originally handwritten with an ink pen in Hebrew. And when they came across the scrolls, those 47 theologians of Yaakov, King Yaakov the First. Remember, there's no J, so it couldn't be James. So when they came across that scroll, all right, then the elders of Hebrew said that is supposed to be true.
Okay.
Hebrew for true. So they must have had a question or two. Well, since he's the true God, then that must mean that there's some false gods. And they said, Cain, that's true. There's some false gods.
Okay.
See, true, that's false.
Okay.
True, there's some false gods. So they were going back and forth. Well, how we know that our God is false? Then they read that again. Read that again. Don't say it said but.
But
The first word is but. There's a conversation going. You have a God. They have a God. All nations, according to 2 Kings chapter 17 or 29, made gods of their own. But,
The Lord Elohim is the true Elohim.
now see what they had there was Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh.
Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh.
They substituted Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh and put Lord and God and all in small and capital letters. Wherever you see in the King James Version Bible, Lord in all caps, God in all caps, that's Elohim, Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. Now, whenever you see a capital L and a lowercase O-R-D, then that would be the Son of Christ. Now, when you see a capital L, O-R-D, and a capital G-O-D, that would be, again, Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. Got it? Okay. He's a true God. And what else?
He is the living
The
God.
living Elohim God. He lives. That means our God has a heart that pumps blood, a brain. I mean, if you want to call it that. Blessed and only potentate, I think it's a little bit more the brain.
Okay.
It has to be. I mean, in order to think of this now,
okay.
architect of the universe, a brain cannot do that.
No.
A brain cannot think of designing a universe before it's built.
God. No.
A brain cannot read an entire library from 00 to 999. A brain cannot do that. Not a brain. And see, when you read a library from 00, that means, see, 00 means there's no books that exist in a library. So, this comes from him. I'm just testifying about, I'm not done yet. I'll be testifying of him forever.
Praise you,
And he warned this planet that I'll be coming back doing that. He shall testify of me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Now, this come out of his mouth because I was sitting right in front of him in the temple when he said it. I was on what they call the circle of 10. I was one of the 10.
Praise
Okay.
you, Wafe.
Sitting right in front of him. He said, he read an entire library from 00 to 999.99. That means there were no more books to read when he got past the last 9. When he got to the last 999.99, there were no more books. The only other thing that he read after the 999.99 was the door that said exit. That's the last thing he read, exit. Now, he started with 00. That means, so that in itself says he's the architect of the universe.
Okay.
Because, I mean, he read a book that was not in libraries. Where did he get it from? Architect of the universe.
Come on.
They couldn't figure that out. He told them they still couldn't figure it out. 00 right there. I mean, he wrote a book that came from infinity.
Mm.
And they would never find it.
God dog it.
The same book that he used to design and architect the universe. And you trying to tell me that that's a brain that done that? No. But he lives. You can't limit him to a brain. How can you limit God to a brain and he gave you one? That means he'd be bound to you. Yes, that's true. That's true. True. He's the truth. And he put his spirit in me. I don't care if you like it or not. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't matter to me at all if you accept it or not accept it. Yeah, I am who I am. I told that to Moshe. I am that I am. You have to figure out the rest.
Yeah.
He didn't know which one. Moshe didn't know which one he was sending him. We were both there, speaking to him in the spaceship. Right on the microphone like I'm using right now. Moshe. Moshe. Moshe, look this way. Here I am. What are you doing? Take your shoes off. Do you realize who you are? Take your shoes off. You're standing on holy ground. And you want to know why this ship is lit up and not incinerating with fire? Because it's a spaceship. The lights all around it.
Okay.
And the bushes are not consumed because they're not on fire. Well, there were a couple of bushes that were on fire. One died, the other still hanging in there. Right bush. How's Barbara? I don't give a damn if you don't like me. I don't like you either. I didn't come for you. I'm here for them. I'm here from those who you associate with that you call your Masons and your Ku Klux Klan. I'm here for the one standing next to him with a black on. He's called Judah to you. He's also called a Negro slave. He's called black. He's called colored. He's called a nigger. He was called a coon, and now he's called African American. I call him lost. The lost sheep of the house of Israel, Judah, Yehuda. That's what I'm here for.
Okay.
So I don't care if you don't like me. I'm not here for a popularity contest. I'm not here looking for friends. I have a friend. He's my best friend. Praise Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh.
You want a best friend? Try my Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, who's about to tear up America. Now, when you experience your first tearing up, then come and arrest me. And I'm going to blame it on God. I'm going to blame it on Mother Nature. I'm his sister, the aunt. I am.
Hey, Auntie.
You call him Mother Nature. And I'm the aunt that you got to go to. You sluggard and be wise. You have no idea what that means. Why? Because I hear the ant in antiquity.
Okay.
You call us ant.
Okay.
No such thing as no ant. It's antiquity. I hear it in Isaiah chapter 23. I'm going to share with you in a minute. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But before we get to that, you said, but Yo Elohim is the true God. He is the living God. And what?
And
Everlasting King. An everlasting King. That means you can't vote for him every 4 years. You cannot vote for our Elohim, the God of Hebrews, every 4 years. And if you don't win the election, you go back down to West Palm Beach. To Mar-a-Lago? Mar-a-Lago. They locked it up. They say they got some kind of COVID stuff going on down there. I don't know where they get this COVID-19 from. They are called the plague God imposed upon this planet, a COVID. Could you imagine a vaccine for a plague? I mean, they had no repellents that could take care of the grasshoppers, the flies, the locusts. And now they're calling this plague a COVID. A virus? Virus is what happens when you take a hot shower and you lay down in the bed in a cold air conditioner. You wake up in the morning with a cold. That's a virus. It's called a flu. Now, you flew all right because you flew over the cuckoo's nest. One flew over the cuckoo's nest to call this plague a virus. And on top of that, we're so embarrassing to your ignorance. You're supposed to be intelligent. We did an experiment on your mind, so we kidnapped a few of you in the Bermuda Triangle, so we experiment on your mind, and we know you have some type of intelligence. You are so smart now, you know how to walk on twos and not fours. So we already tested your intelligence. You're supposed to be intelligent enough to know that you cannot make a vaccine for a plague. Why do you think that people are dropping like flies when you stick them in the needle in their arms with this, what's that, crab syrup juice? Olive oil with some kind of water in it? You have these people, Donald, say that's the false media. Everybody says false news, fake news. Building the people of hope. You're building them up with hope, and you're putting them in line with dope. See, you're building the people with hope, and you're sticking in your arm dope. You're dope. Soon I'm gonna have you against the rope. I got you against the rope now, you dope. Do I like you? Nope. Ropey, dopey, nopey. I hate you. Now show me the state statute, the county ordinance, the city law. Show me the U.S. government's law from the MISE rule. You never even heard of that. Show me the MISE rule. You never even heard of it, because I'm shallow, the lawgiver. You never heard of MISE. Yet it's a law that you created back in the 16th century. And I'm going to throw that on you, the MISE rule, that you can't touch me. But you can arrest me if you like. Bring your army with you. And bring your Air Force. But before you do, read Ezekiel chapter 1, because I have an Air Force behind me too that you cannot see.
Come on.
Neither can you keep up with the speed of those crabs. Make sure you read me my rights. See, when you read me my rights, I'm going to read you what's left.
God, dog.
Or did you know, or did you not know, I'm the one who was prophesying Daniel chapter 12 was the one that would stand up for my people. Do I look like I'm afraid of you? Do I sound like I'm afraid? Afraid? How you spell that? Oh, let's see. GODOFTHEHEBREWS. The God of the Hebrews. A plague. I'm going to vaccine the plague. If you don't know who I am, you better go ask your mama.
Thank.
He's a true and only living God. Read the rest of that so you can see when they come from me. Like you did my daddy in New Orleans, Louisiana on November 7th, 1990.
At his wrath, the earth shall tremble,
Well, read that.
and the nations shall not be able to abide his
Now,
indignation.
see, you may think that's just something to read the Bible. And yet we just heard a volcano erupted for the first time in 6,000 years.
6,000.
Yeah, you arrested my father in New Orleans, Louisiana on November 7th, 1990. That's right, that's my daddy. My father, look at us, we look alike.
Glory.
Someone even told me that we sound alike. I don't know where they get that from.
Okay.
But they did write in prophetics that there would be one coming with the sound of many waters, a voice, and the sound of many waters.
Praise your name.
We got to figure out what that means in a minute. But you arrested him and you treated him evil and wicked, and I don't like that very much. I really don't. I don't take kind to that at all, especially when I visited him. I personally visited him with a badge that I was carrying from your government on September 15, 1992. And we cried on each other's shoulders the last time we were together, face to face. We hugged and we kissed. Oh no, not homosexuality, not in the mouth. He kissed me on my cheek, and I kissed him on both his cheeks, and then he kissed me on my other cheek. And then we cried some more, and then he left. They took him away to Golgotha, where he was crucified by judicial murder in the United States courts. They crucified him. Now, when you think you're coming from me, read Revelation chapter 11 and verse 6, because if you hurt me, if you even think of hurting me, you better read that scripture. In fact, you should read the whole chapter 11, 1:1. That's I, even I, 1:1. That's who's here. And read verse 4 so you can see and know who the God of the earth is. He's the God of heaven, and there's one on earth. That thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. There's two. Study it, you'll know that. I, even I. We both shall search my sheep and seek them out.
Okay.
Let us make man our image. My God is the true God. My Ab is the true Elohim. He lives. Who is this? Now, who is this? You church-minded people. You church-minded people. Okay, they say this is a photograph. Hollywood actor.
Crackhead, right?
Probably 5 years stone, Hollywood Boulevard. Right? Weird. Say weirdo. He's one of those. Nope. What is this?
Oh. That's
Same name.
terrible.
Same name.
Same name.
Burning faggots.
They all crossed up. Who's this?
Listen,
Same
gay
name.
boy.
Same name.
No wonder you said the true and only living God.
True and living.
Jeremiah 10:10. He lives.
Okay.
That looks like a black and white photo. So he's living. He was living too. He was living.
Was.
Was. It's the God Daddy.
Oh, God.
He's like the God Daddy. And some of the people right now have his name up in their church. And in their homes. And if they look at this video live right now or even recording, they're saying, Lord help him, Jesus. They don't know what he's doing. Just,
Same name.
Lord help him. Who's this man with his white thing on his head talking to me? Holding my God like that. The same Jesus who got me food stamps. The stimulus check. A hood project. Oh, project. False hair and false eyelashes. Eyebrow pencils and makeup. He better leave my Jesus alone. I have a shock fate. Same name.
Same name.
Right, Jesus? Jesus. The only difference with him, though, he has a last name, Fernandez. Fernandez.
Okay.
Same one. Just thought we'd remind you of that for a moment. The true God.
Okay.
The living God. That means if you thought he died on May 7, 2007,
Goodness.
how could you live?
Whoa.
Did you say everlasting?
Everlasting Father.
They can't vote for him again. They never voted for him. He'd be God. He's God forever. Now all you have to do is see when you find out whoever is, you know how long he'll be God. Antiquity.
Goodness.
You got that? Now go to Revelation chapter 1 and read verse 1 so we can set this straight. Yeah, antiquity. Revelation chapter 1, read verse 1, please.
And Revelation 1:1. Quote, the revelation of Mem Yod Kaf Yod-Heh-Waveh, which Yod-Heh-Waveh gave unto him, to shew unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant Yochanan.
Okay, now, some have been reading this for so long, and they have no idea what they're reading. And so much until they could not even see that this revelation is of one thing, one man. I just revealed the thing. See, this it says the revelation. Now, verbatim, it says Jesus Christ. Don't forget, I still preserve the right of the Myers rule. They've never heard of it. Right now they're probably watching this video, they put it on pause to go look at the libraries, the law libraries, looking for Myers. M-I-S-E. They're not going to find it. Unless they're sharp, they got to be sharp. In fact, they got to go to England to find it. They've never even heard of that in the United States. M-I-S-E rule, and I preserve the Myers rule to wit. It gives me permission to do whatever I'd like to do according to your First Amendment. And by your First Amendment right, I can call you a devil. I'm in my chapel. Freedom of religion. I can say I hate you if I want to. I mean, for my op said, it was Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So, since my Father, your God, your Elohim, said he hate, then who am I to dominate his hate, or not to hate? So since my Ab hates, your God that created you, he hates. So since he hates, then I can follow him. But I follow him.
Okay.
So whatever he do, I do. That's what my name means, by the way. Mem Yod Kaf Yod Wafe. Who is like Yod Wafe? I'm like him. So whatever you know of him, then you should know the same thing of me. You don't know anything about me, but you know you should know of me. But that's all they do, they know about me. They thought they knew me, but you only know about me. You leave my out. A-B, O-U-T, out. Leave me out. You don't know me, you thought you did. If you knew me, then you'll be here with me. Excuse me?
Truly.
If you knew me and know who I am, then you'll be here with me. If you want to live. That's what you would, but you don't have to. We did the same thing before. Noah did the same thing. You better come on. There's a flood coming. Yeah, right. But this time, see, you're not going to be warned of a flood of water. You're going to look up in the heavens and you're going to see a flood, a cloud of chariots, of fire coming to light you up. The last thing you're going to do is see that. That's all you're going to do. You're going to see the clouds of they call UFOs. Spaceship from another planet coming. You're going to look up like they did in the movie that's called Star Wars. Is that what it was? Independence Day, Star Wars. And War of the Worlds.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
War of the Worlds. Cruising down the street with Tom. Cruising with Tom Cruise. He told his daughter, it's okay, it's going to be all right.
Let me ask this to Gosley style.
And think hiding under the table is going to help them. That's the most ridiculous thing I saw yesterday on the news. Here, an earthquake happened in Japan, the airport. And here you have an Asian woman hold on to a column in the airport that's going to come down and hurt him. You know, if common sense was against the law, all of them would be in jail.
Goodness.
I mean, yeah, if common sense was against the law, you know how many people would be in jail in Asia? Even here in this country.
Okay.
Wouldn't be enough jail. This is the revelation. Now, verbatim it says Jesus Christ. And I just did that. I just revealed to you who Jesus Christ is. He's false. I just did. The revelation 1 of Jesus Christ. That's the false one. Now, they substituted the name that was there. The name that was there was Yahshua. Yahushua.
Okay.
If you get a NIV Bible, it'll tell you that was Yahushua. That means that book, that first verse in book, Revelation, is supposed to reveal to you who Yahushua is. The
Okay.
first verse. And then the rest of the 403 verses will tell you all of Yahushua and what he's done and what he's going to do
Glory.
and who he is. That's a revelation. For some strange reason, they think that the book of Revelation is the Revelations. I don't see a S in the Revelation. The first verse tells you who he is. Yahushua. But that's more than a Yahushua, that's the name then. He has another name according to chapter 2, verse 17, and chapter 19 that no one knew. Because no one knew who Mem Yod Kaf Yod Walker is. Especially after they destroyed the theophoric extension off of Mika.
Okay.
They destroyed it.
Okay.
Reverse. Now you're about to get the revelation. Right? Read verse 13, please.
Revelation 1, verse 13.
Yes.
Quote, and in the midst of 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man.
Okay, hold it now for a minute. We're not going to be able to get through all that right now. We'll be until Monday morning. Just with that sentence. Not even a whole verse. But what we're going to do is we're going to take that little bit. When in the midst, what it says in the midst of 7 candlesticks.
And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks.
Okay, now hold it. Now someone look at your Bible and count from Daniel. Count from the book called Daniel. I want you to count from Daniel until you get to 7. Like Daniel will be 1, the next book 2, 3, going toward Malachi. Don't go back, but start from Daniel
Okay.
and go down and count. And what you get. When you get to 7.
Mika.
Mika?
Mika.
Okay.
Oh. You count from Daniel, and when you got to 7,
Okay.
you got to Mika.
Okay.
In the
This
midst.
is Revelation.
Okay.
Goodness gracious, Lord.
I'm going to give you a revelation. I'm inviting the world, this planet, to listen to this, to hear it. They won't be able to hear it. They can listen and watch, but they're not going to get it. So you count from Daniel to 7, you got to Mika.
Mika.
Okay, now, the last book, so-called, and it's segmented and divided it and placed in this Bible. The last book is called Malachi. And then he gives with Mem too, don't it?
Okay.
Okay. Now, count from Malachi and go up. And when you get to 7, tell me what you get.
Mika.
You have got to be kidding.
Mika.
You count from Malachi and went back up, and you get to 7, you get Mika.
Mika.
Then you count from Daniel and went down, you get to Mika.
Okay.
One like unto the Son of Man. And each one of those is a candlestick. It doesn't say anything about gold. I mean, those scrolls were on it like a stick. Look at the scrolls, they're on the stick.
Okay. Yeah.
The candle is the word that made flesh. That's why, see, Daniel was flesh. All those servants were flesh. So we got the stick, the scroll made flesh, and that's one like unto the Son of Man. He was in a part of those. See, he was in a part of the candlesticks. He was in the midst of the candlesticks. But he was more than that. He was like unto the Son of Man. The Son of Man. See, that's man. My art is man. Let us make man. Let us make man in our image. You thought you were a man? You're not a man. You're mankind. You are kind of a man, Joe. In all your administration, Donald. See, the publicans are back here again today, as they were with me back then, over 2,022 years ago. The publicans were there. They didn't like me then. The publicans, and I didn't like them either. I'm not here for popularity. And I hear they resurfaced. They resurfaced. The publicans resurfaced. And now they're called Republicans. And the other ones have a dim mind. Socrats. Socrats, but their minds are dim, so became a Democrat. Now look up Socrats and find out what that is. You spell it, you study it, you smart, you wise. One likened to the Son of Man. In the midst of the 7 candlesticks, now you know what the candlesticks are. The scrolls made flesh. It doesn't say anything about candles. Show me in your Bible where it says candles. It's candlesticks.
Right.
The scrolls are on the stick.
Oh.
You got it? Okay. All right. Now, see, if they knew that, then they could have taught that.
Right.
Now, all those who see this video behind me, they're going to steal it.
Okay.
Praying that the congregation, especially my people of Judah and false shepherds, they're praying that the congregational members don't see this so that they can go to them tomorrow, tonight, and say, guess what? Turn to Revelation chapter 1. Don't forget to give them secrets. And have a ball.
Sneaky
They don't even
thing.
know I'm having a ball.
Okay.
They don't even know what GAN is. What's a GAN? A GAN. While you're gaining, I'm gaining. I'm also grinning at you. They don't even know the word was made flesh. The word speaking to them in the flesh, if they think I'm human. It's fine. They're supposed to. That's why the word was given incognito. Now, the Demise road, see the Demise, M-I-S-E. I'm speaking right now, Demise, M-I-S-E. Now turn to Proverbs. Let me give you a little Proverbs Chapter 6. Before we're only going to give them a little bit. Because they're going to go to the congregation and say, I did this. Especially that why.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Somebody will give it to him, look at Mika. Yeah, right in the middle. Even in the middle of the whole Bible, that's 33.
Okay.
Either way you look at it. From Genesis to Mika, and from Revelation to Mika is 33.
33.
That's true.
In the midst of the whole Bible,
In the middle.
right in the middle. In the middle of all this mess. Standing up.
Standing up.
For
In
the
the middle of
people.
all this mess. Oh, Judah.
For your people.
For my people. I help them. I love my people, even terrestrial level.
Praise your Lord.
I love my people. Jacob, come up, I love. Esau, I hate, you false Jews. Having the Pentateuch, eat blood lamb. Eat a bloody lamb and then put the blood on your doorpost. And wait 14 days so he can come kill you.
Already did.
As they pass over you with their jets,
God, dog.
helicopters, preventing you from escaping. There can't one escape until Abram the Hebrew. All this is all incognito, codex,
Codex. Okay.
cryptic, midrash, all coded. The entire Bible is coded. All 566,000 some letters all put together, coded by the Freemasons in the verses and chapters too. See, here's a perfect example. Proverbs 6, verse 6. That means the Son of Man, one like the Son of Man, was standing 6 feet tall, 6 feet in height, 72 inches, 4 cubits in height. So if you're following someone shorter than 6 feet, a midget, then you have the wrong Christ. If you don't have the one with you, or you're with the one that you call your Christ or your shepherd, if he does not fit the profile of Revelation chapter 21, verse 17, you have a wrong shepherd. You found a midget and take you on a carnival and a circus ride. You might as well go to the circus. That's why midgets. I'm telling you the truth. Proverbs 6, 6, 6. What's that? What's that say? And I quote? Yes.
Go to the ant.
If you can't even get past go, here we are. Passover's over. They think we're getting ready for Passover. It's over because they wouldn't listen. They wouldn't hear me.
Okay.
It's okay.
Go.
Go. You think it's go. You know, Paul, we went over that. We're not going to share with them. That's knowledge and wisdom that's in that word. G-O. Huh? Go. And they can do nothing but become dumb instead of divine. So you have a choice with go. Because they left you with go.
Okay.
They took off the D. Why? Because you're either going to be dumb or divine. Now, if you have either one of the two, and you put that next to the O, then you have a God, whether you're going to be false or with us.
Goodness.
Dumb or divine. G-O-D. You think it's go. Where are you going to go? You don't know where you're going. Tell me to go to an ant, and here you are going to your backyard looking for a whole pile of ants, an ant hill. And then you're going to put your ear, you're going to look at that, you're going to study that, you're going to take a chair. If it's in the sun, take an umbrella, beach umbrella. Take your Bible, take a magnifying glass, and study these ants. Stick one eye out of the magnifying glass and see what these ants are doing. And study them. How you going to study them? Until you get what, a B.A. degree? You badass? A B.A. degree, a badass. You're so wise. A AA degree, all of that. AA. Right? And all out ass.
God, dog.
You study the ant. How you going to study the ant? And you haven't even finished high school. You study the ant, you didn't get a diploma from high school. You're going to study an ant. Go to the ant and do what? Thou sluggard. See, you can't even move. You think it's sluggard. Not realizing that was put there incognito, cryptic, backward. Right? Mm-hmm. Drag on. And drag. Go to the ant, thou and do what?
Consider her ways
Consider her ways.
and be wise.
Wise. You look at W-I-S-E. Now that's where I come in at. With the M-I-S-E, I turn the W upside down. I'm going to give you a mize. True wit. True wit. You don't even know you say wise. You can't. You want to study the ant. You want to go to the ant, talk to the ant, see if they can help you get wise. And yet I'm going to put the mize rule on you right now and take you to antiquity. Because you think it's the ant. When yet it's the abbreviation for antiquity. A-N-T. So let me take you. Since you don't want to go, let me take you. Let me take you back to antiquity. Julie, your hard-headed son.
Praise your Lord.
Turn to Isaiah chapter 23. And let me give you something to consider. Say consider her ways, right? They had H-E-R.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Isaiah chapter 23, verse 1. And there's your next 6. That's your first 6, the other 6. 2 and 3 is 5, plus 1 is 6. Right?
Okay.
My math is, I'll be the first to tell you, my math is not good. That's why I ordered and I read my Obbs mathematical book. I have that too. I told you I have all the books. I read that too. From cover to cover, I studied his math. And it enabled me to realize that 4 plus 2 is 6. It also let me realize that 2 plus 3 is 5 and 1 is 6. Try it. You got it? You have it? Look at verse 1, Isaiah chapter 23. Okay.
Isaiah 23:1. The burden of Tari, how
Who is Tyree? Who's Tyree? You're reading stuff. Did they study this? Who's Tyreek? Ain't tell me what it is. You think it's a name? Not a name. It's a meaning. It means the rock. We invite you to stay with us. Okay? So, it means the rock, huh? Read that again, please.
The burden of Tyre, how ye ships of Tarshish.
Okay. That's those ships were used to transport slaves. Now, the first thing you must realize is I'm putting a burden on Tyre's rock. That rock is also considered an allegory that means the most stubborn nation on the planet and the hardest one to fight. The United States of hell.
Okay.
How you ships of Tarshish? For it is
For it is laid waste.
Uh-huh.
For it is laid waste, so that there is no house, no entering in. For the land of Shittim, it is revealed to them.
Okay. Now, what is Shittim? That's actually Chittim.
Okay.
Chittim. Look at your quote, Strong's H3794. Study. This is, we invite you to have breakfast with. Now we got brunch going on. It's after 12 here. After 1. See, that word is Hebrew, comes from a Hebrew word. It means bruisers. Someone's bruising my people. And that comes from the twins. He shall bruise his heel. Esau and Jacob. This is all prophetic. We don't have time to go into it and teach those
Okay.
who are watching. We don't know. Everyone's invited to watch.
Okay.
They can see this video in Africa.
We can.
But we are secretly and coolingly revealing some knowledge. This is Revelation.
Lord.
Chapter 1, verse 1. Let me continue as I go into verse 2. Be still, ye inhabitants of the isles, thou whom the merchants of Zidon that passed over the sea have replenished. And by great waters the seed of Sihor, the harvest of the river, is her revenue. See, it's her. Consider her ways and be wise. And she is a mart of nations. Like Kmart, Walmart. Be thou ashamed, O Zidon, for the sea has spoken, even the strength of the sea, saying, travail not, nor bring forth children, neither do I nourish up young men, nor bring up virgins. Verse 5, as at the report concerning Egypt, so shall they be sorely pained at the report of Tyre of the rock. Pass ye over. And that's what we did. They're worshiping and want to recognize Passover, but they have no idea what Passover is. And now here it is. Pass ye over to Tarshish. How? The inhabitants of the isles. That's verse 6.
Okay.
Is this your joyous city, whose antiquity is of ancient days? And there's your antiquity of our ancient days are. Her own feet shall carry her afar off to sojourn. Who comes up to 6? 7. So as you read Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6, and we hear the answer of what you should do in Isaiah chapter 6, verse 7. Verse 23, verse 7. So there's your ant, the abbreviation of antiquity. Now, when you go to your Strong's Concordance, that means what Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6 was telling you to do was go to your Return to him. and be wise.
Yes.
Look it up. Get your concordance. Look in your concordance and reference actually start at age 69:23 as we give you this, and then we're going to go to one more chapter and call it a day. But let's reveal to you Proverbs 6:6, what you should do, as you focus also your attention on 2 Proverbs Chapter 7, verse 14. You better return. You better humble yourself and pray. Turn from your wicked ways. What's that say? This is Strong's H. 69:23 gives you a Hebrew word.
Kadam.
Kadam. With kof. Right? Begins with kof, actually. Kof. It's spelled from right to left. Kof, Dalet, Mem Sofi. Right?
Okay.
And what's it mean?
Means to project.
Go to your Arb and project yourselves, Judah. No one has broken it down like this before. My Arb gave one of his elders this to play with.
Okay.
It wasn't time for it to be revealed
Okay.
because we didn't read, you didn't know Revelation chapter 1, verse 1.
Okay.
This is the revelation of Yahushua.
Okay.
Mem Yod Kaf Yelewah.
Yeah.
He gave him this to play with as an elder so he could have something to do when he goes to the feast.
So excited.
Gave his own little time block.
So excited.
Go to the end.
Yes, it's excitement.
So excited.
Go to the ant. And yet he didn't bring one ant with him. Go to the feast. Not even a jar. Ants. What else it has? What other meaning? See, it's going to be broken down for you today. Go to the ant and do what? Go to antiquity, your the ancient of days, and do what?
Proceed.
Proceed with him to everlasting life. Return unto him. What else?
Hints to.
He's giving you a hint. Consider the hint he's giving you. You sluggard.
Okay.
Be wise. What else?
Hasten. Meet.
Go to your Arb and become neat again, Judah, Yehuda. Be neat. And stop being so messy. You messed up your whole life. What else?
Come before.
Go to your Arb and come before him with thanksgiving, with gladness, and with a pure heart. Go to the antiquity, the ancient days. What else?
Go and flee.
Go and flee from the devil and come to your Arb. You're in water. And by the way, you just read antiquity. The word antiquity in Isaiah chapter 23 and verse 7, it is the only place in the Bible where that word is found. Antiquity. Antiquity. And we hid it in Midrash, and in crypto, and in the codex
Okay.
of the word by taking off the suffix. So you left the prefix, A-N-T,
Okay.
ant.
Okay.
Because you know it's ridiculous to go to ant. How you going to go to ant study that way? It'd be like an ant.
That's a codex.
You don't even save your money to go to the food store to buy food. Whether it be winter, spring, summer, or fall, you don't save nothing. Buy no junk food, cigarettes, cigars, dope. Remember the dope? Dope is coming.
God.
The dirt is coming. And you're going to study the ant. And while you put your hand in the ant hill, especially red ones, you get stung and bit all up. They'll tear you up. Even some black ones will bite you. If you don't believe those black ants will bite you, you tease one of them, go rob one of them. Try and take his jewelry from off his neck. See if you don't pop his side of the head with his knife. And then after you get through with the ant, when you try to rob the ant, then go try the uncle. He gonna get you too. He get you worse. You got an AK-47.
So, wait, no, that's not Trump.
We're going to study about the ant. Oh, Yodi Wabi, help us. Save us.
Save us.
Please.
Gather us together.
Yes.
And
And
deliver
deliver us
us.
from the heathen.
Come on.
So that we may give thanks.
What's the next one? Go to 69:27. What does that say? That's what he gave you. You started with the etymology of it.
Right.
The etymology. Then they give you roots from that. They give you branches for the etymology.
Right.
And a couple more roots.
H 69:27.
What's that say?
Kadma,
The same word.
antiquity.
Antiquity. What? Wait, 69:27 says antiquity? I think someone should look that up in the dictionary. While she's read the rest of the meaning, and someone get a dictionary, look up antiquity. Antiquity. So far we got ancient. Okay, what else do we have? Antiquity.
Priority.
Study your Ancient of Days. Go to the Ancient of Days and learn what your priorities are. Is that what you have there? Priority? Read that again.
King priority.
You're confused with the priority. You don't know what your priorities are. You think you must cater to your slave master. You cater to your slave master and don't know what your priority is. Your priority is to your own God, your Elohim, your Wabi.
Okay.
What else is it? It has more? One more.
Former estate.
The what?
Former estate.
Former estate. And here you are. You're leaving your former estate, going to the estate. What does antiquity say in the dictionary? What dictionary does you have?
This is Webster's New World College Dictionary.
Let's focus
fifth-
now.
fifth-
You're talking to the world. We have two dictionaries. We're going to get two different meanings, two different dictionaries. So the first dictionary is what? It's for the sake of they can't see you, so you're going to identify.
This is the Webster's New World College Dictionary,
Yes.
fifth edition.
Okay. Fifth edition. And what page? What copyright? It should be on that page right there. What you heard. Or the page before that. We can make sure we see
Copyright 2014.
2014. Okay. Now that means for the sake of those who are listening, they can go get that dictionary.
Okay.
Use it as part of their study tools. And what's it say? Antiquity. What page?
Page 63.
What it have?
Antiquity.
Uh-huh.
The early period of history,
Good gracious.
especially before the Middle Ages.
Like even before the scrolls were sealed.
The quality of being ancient or old.
Wait. Now, good gracious alive. The quality of being ancient
Ancient.
as an ancient of days
That's an
and
ancient.
old like old man winter. That's destroying some parts of this country right now. Wow. Antiquity. They thought it was the ant. Anything else?
The people of ancient times.
You mean, so not only are those who were told to go to the Ancient of Days was ancient,
Okay.
but those who were supposed to go also ancient, because they come from history, before the Middle Age. That means they go all the way back to Genesis chapter 1, and chapter 2, and chapter 3, 4, and 5. Created the only image you call their name, Adam.
Male and female.
Male and female. So we're looking for all of the Ancient of Days people
Okay.
to go to the Ancient of Days and learn their priorities. And where you're supposed to be.
Right.
Miami.
That's what you're doing. In Miami.
Okay.
If you don't come to Miami, then Miami ain't going to come to you. That's the Myers rule. M-I-S-E. To wit. They still know what that means. And I taught law in the schools. I taught law.
Shiloh.
I did. I taught law for 12 years in the public school system. They thought they knew me, calling me Mr. Israel. Yeah. They said Charlotte was going to come and give the law.
Okay.
Well, if I got anything out of it, if no one learned anything, at least I got paid. By the state of Florida. I know the law. I've been doing the law ever since I was created. Formed of it. You have another dictionary there with antiquity? Share it, please.
This is a Webster New 20th Century Dictionary Unabridged,
Okay.
2nd edition. Copyright 1983.
Okay.
Antiquity. 1. The quality of being ancient.
Wow. First you gotta be qualified with quality. I'm simply looking for quality, not quantity.
King.
You have to be qualified. My aunt said that too.
They're down.
There's some videos and tape somewhere around here that says they're about to be qualified. We're looking for quantity. That's why many are called, but few are chosen.
King.
Okay.
They're down.
Quality. We're looking for the quality of many. Just the quality of a few. Good gracious. What else it has?
Great age.
A great age, ancient. It is not good that man should be alone. I'll make him a helpmeet to him. I guarantee you, when you look in one of those definitions of Hebrew integrity, it has to meet. M-E-E-T. I saw it. It's there. She says it's there. Isn't it? M-E-E-T, meet. As in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 19. I will make him a helpmeet for him. What else?
To the early period of history, especially before the Middle Ages,
Good gracious, sounds familiar.
ancient times.
Ancient times. That means the Ancient of Days will have to be here. Also known as the architect of the universe. Also known as, quote, Yahweh ben Yahweh, end quote.
Okay.
Celestially known as Yod Heh Vav Heh. See the lights flash?
Okay.
You hear the police even celebrating.
That's right.
Yeah, I heard sirens.
It's not even
That's cool.
just one time.
That's good. That's
They
good.
must be listening. Say hi to Joe. Say hello to Joe. Hello, Joe. Throw him in, Joe. Throw them in, Joe. Go to Revelation for a moment and read. Go back to chapter 1 and read verse 7. Since we went to 6, Proverbs 6, to go to 7, and I'm going to actually go to Jeremiah chapter 4.
Okay. Revelation 1, verse 7. Quote, Behold, he cometh with clouds.
Looking back at me. I'm giving you Revelation.
Okay.
Look at the background. It's being fulfilled. Literally,
King.
allegorically, metaphorically, symbolically, prophetically.
King.
It's right here. And figuratively. It's the clouds. Not only that, read the rest of it.
Every eye shall see him.
Every eye that's tuned in right now shall see me. It doesn't say all.
No, it did not.
Every.
Yeah, it doesn't say all. All are not tuned in right now. But every eye there is seeing me.
Okay.
And what, even those that what?
And they also which pierced him.
They're seeing it too. That means pierce him verbally, abuse him verbally,
King.
ridiculed, scorned.
King.
And those thousands of years ago, the same souls that pierced me,
Brought him back.
literally,
Brought him back.
physically.
King.
Brought him back.
It's true.
Brought him back.
Brought them back so they could witness it.
So enough. That's why
And then they'll be shamed of what they've done.
wicked.
Okay.
Wicked.
exactly wicked. And, you know, I'm not going to go over it, but you know, I don't have to prove anything to anyone. I still have the scars to prove it, don't I? The birthmark.
Okay.
Cain.
Bear
For
witness.
those who did not know, they're witnesses.
Witnesses.
Bear witness.
Witnesses that saw a birthmark under my right nipple on my chest in the shape of a spear's tip, where they pierced me. And my eye put that on this body so that when they see it, they'll know there's me, especially with the clouds in back of me. And with the color of the complexion of my skin tone that he gave me. Right?
This day.
The same complexion. It said fine brass.
Cain.
Okay.
Didn't it?
Cain. This day.
Fine brass.
Glory.
Fine brass.
Got it.
Hmm? Same skin tone. Prophetical.
Like that.
Anything else to say there?
And
You have more?
absolute after the colon,
After the colon, what?
and all kindreds of the earth
All kindreds, every nation on the planet.
shall wail because of him.
They don't sound too happy, do
No. Wrong.
Even so, amen.
they? And so it is.
Okay.
And here's your message. All you who scorn me and pierce me, you even Judah,
Yes.
here's your message in Jeremiah that was recorded, hidden, sealed in Jeremiah chapter 4. If thou wilt return, O Israel, said Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, return unto me, me. And if thou wilt pay or put away thine abominations out of my sight, then thou shalt not remove. And thou shalt swear, when you do, that Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh liveth in truth,
Cain.
in judgment, and in righteousness. And the nations shall bless themselves in him, and in him shall they glory. For thus saith Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh to the men of Yehuda and in Jerusalem in the Middle East, break up your fallow ground, and sow not among thorns. Circumcise yourselves to Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. As you look up the word ant in Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6, it's going to take you to a Hebrew word that means circumcise.
Cain.
I challenge you to do it.
Glory.
I repeat, when you study, and you look up the word A-N-T that exists only one time in the King James Version of the Bible, you are going to find a Hebrew word that's going to take you to one meaning, which is circumcise. So circumcise yourself to Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh and take away the foreskins of your heart, ye men of Yehuda and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my fury come forth like fire and burn that none can quench it because of the evil of your doings. Declare ye in Yehuda and publish in Jerusalem and say of the United States of America, blow ye the trumpet in the land, cry, gather together, and say, assemble yourselves, and let us go into the defense cities. Set up the standard toward Zion. Retire your ignorance and your foolishness and your evil ways. Stay not in the congregation of the dead, for I will bring evil from the north and a great destruction. Verse 7, the lion is caught from his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. He is going forth from his place to make thy land desolate, and thy cities shall be laid waste without an inhabitant. For this gird you with sackcloth, or gird you with sackcloth. Lament and howl, for the fierce anger of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh is not turned back from us. And it shall come to pass at that day, saith Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, that the heart of the king shall perish, and the heart of the princess, and the priests shall be astonished, and the prophets shall wonder. Then said I, Mem Yod Kaf Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, Surely thou hast greatly deceived this people of Jerusalem, and that's true, saying, ye shall have peace, shalom, shalom, whereas the sword reacheth unto the soul. At that time shall it be said to this people and to Jerusalem, a dry wind of the high places in the wilderness for 40 years toward the daughter of my people, not to fan, nor to cleanse. Even a full wind from those places shall come unto me. Now also will I give sentence against them. Behold, in verse 13, he shall come up as clouds. He shall come up as clouds, and his chariot shall be as a whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles. Woe unto us, for we are spoiled. And you wait, they're coming. They're here. U.S. government calls them UFOs. O Jerusalem, wash thine heart from wickedness, that thou mayest be saved. How long shall thy vain thoughts lodge within thee? For a voice declares from Dan, and punisheth affliction from Mount Ephraim. Make ye mention to the nations, behold, publish against Jerusalem, that watches come from a far country, and give out their voice against the cities of Yehudah. As keepers of a field are they against her round about, because she hath been rebellious against me. Memyod said Yodewate. Thy way and thy doings have procured these things unto thee. This is thy wickedness, because it is bitter, because it reacheth unto thy heart. My bowels, even my bowels, I am pained at my very heart. My heart maketh a noise in me. I cannot hold my peace so long. Why? Because thou hast heard, O my soul, the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war. Destruction upon destruction is cried, for the whole land is spoiled. Suddenly are my tents spoiled, and my curtains in a moment. How long shall I see the standard and hear the sound of the trumpet? For my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children. And they have none understanding, none comprehension at all. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form, and void, and the heavens, and they had no light. I beheld the mountains, and lo, they trembled, and the hills moved lightly. I beheld, and lo, the fruitful place was a wilderness, and all the cities thereof were broken down in the presence of Yahweh, and by his fierce anger. For thus hath Yahweh said, the whole land shall be desolate, yet will I not make a full end. For this shall the earth mourn, and the heavens above be black, because I have spoken it, I have purposed it, and will not repent, neither will I turn back from it. The whole city shall be free, shall flee from the noise of the horsemen and the bowmen. They shall go into thickets and climb up upon the rocks. Every city shall be forsaken, and not a man dwell therein. And when thou art spoiled, what wilt thou do? Though thou closest thyself with crimson, though thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold around your necks, around your ankles, around your wrists, though thou richest thy face with paintings of rouge and lipstick and blush and eyelashes and eyeshadow, In vain shalt thou make thyself fair. Thy lovers will despise thee. They will seek thy life instead. For I have heard a voice as of a woman in travail, and the anguish as of her. Thou sluggard, consider her ways, and be wise, that bringeth forth her first child, the voice of the daughter of Zion, that bewaileth herself, and spreadeth her hands, saying, Woe is me now! For my soul is wearied because of murderers. Praise the Lord.
Praise your Lord.
Ezekiel chapter 16 as we close. Ezekiel chapter 16. Follow the voice as we close. And just think, this is our daily breakfast, isn't it?
Right.
Now, brunch. We have nothing to do here except serve our Billy Wabi.
That's it.
What we got to do?
And again the word of Yodhe Wabi came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations, and say, Thus saith Yodhe Wabi, God at Jerusalem, Thy birth and thy nativity is of the end of Canaan. Thy father was American, and thy mother a Haitian, a Hittite, a slave, a Yehudite, a foreigner, in bondage. And as for thy nativity, in the day thou was born, thy neighbor was not cut from your slave master. Neither was thou washed in water to supple thee. Thou was not salted at all, nor swaddled at all. None I pitted thee to do any of these unto thee, to have compassion upon thee. But thou was cast out in the open field to the loosening of thy person in the day that thou was born. And when I passed by thee and saw thee polluted in thine own blood, as he passed over, Passover, I said unto thee, when thou was in thine own blood, live. Yeah, I said unto thee, when thou was in thy blood, live. I have caused thee to multiply as the bud of the field, and thou hast increased and waxen great, and thou art come to excellent ornaments. Thy breasts are fashioned, and thine hair is grown, but not bald, whereas thou wast naked and bare. Now, when I passed by thee, I looked upon thee. Behold, thy time was a time of love and hard, when I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness,
Glory.
and put clothes on your robes. I told you with robes and long garments, I cover your nakedness. Here, I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, said Yodhe, even men Yodhe, and thou becamest mine, was thine is mine, was mine is thine. Then washed I thee with water. Here, I thoroughly washed away thy blood from thee, and anointed thee with oil, and thy cup runneth over. I clothed thee also with broidered work, and shod thee with badger skin, and I girded thee about with fine linen, and covered thee with silk. I decked thee also with ornaments of silver and gold, as I cut thee out of the forest, the work of workmen with the axe. And I put bracelets upon thy hands, and a chain on thy neck, a tetragrammaton in gold. And I put a jewel on thy forehead, and earrings in thine ears, and a beautiful crown of royalty upon thine head, as a ruler, as a king and queen. And thus wast thou decked. Thou wast thou decked with gold and silver, as I said, and thy remnant was of fine linen and silk and embroidered work. Thou didst eat fine flour and honey and oil, and thou wast exceeding beautiful, and thou didst prosper into a kingdom. And they renowned And thy renown went forth among the heathen for thy beauty, for it was perfect through my comeliness, which I had put upon thee, said Mem Lord Comforter Raphael. But thou didst trust in thy own beauty, and playedst the harlot because of thy renown, and pouredst out thy fornications on every one that passed by. His it was, and of thy garments thou didst take, and deckest thy high places with divers colors, purple and red and gold green, and played the harlot thereupon. The light things shall not come, neither shall it be so. Thou hast also taken thy fair jewels and pounded them in the pawn shop, and my gold and all my silver pounded them for money for drugs, which I had given thee, and madest to thyself images of men with their drugs, and didst commit whoredom with them as you go from man to man, God to God, and tookest thy brawny garbage and covered them, and thou hast set mine oil and mine incense before them. My meat of word and wisdom that I taught you, in secret also which I gave thee, fine flour and oil and honey, wherewith I fed thee. Thou hast even set it before them for a sweet Savior, and taught them, as if they can learn. And thou it was, and thus it was, said Mem Lord Comforter Raphael. Moreover, thou hast taken thy sons and thy daughters, whom thou hast born unto me, and these hast thou sacrificed unto them to be devoured by the U.S. government and by the state officials. Is this of thy whoredoms a small matter, that thou hast slain my children and delivered them to cause them to pass through the fire for them? In all thine abominations and thy whoredoms, thou hast not remembered the days of thy youth, when thou wast naked and bare, and was polluted in thy blood. And it came to pass after all thy wickedness, woe, woe unto thee, said Mem Lord Comforter Raphael, that thou hast also built unto thee an eminent place, and hast made thee a high place in every street. Thou hast built the high places at every head of the way, and hast made thy beauty to be abhorred, and hast opened thy feet to everyone that passes by, and multiply thy whoredoms, open up for every man, you whore. Thou hast also committed fornication with the Egyptians and the Americans, thy neighbors, great of flesh, and hast increased thy whoredoms to provoke me to anger. Behold, therefore, I have stretched out my hand over thee,
Glory.
and have diminished thy ordinary food, and delivered thee unto the will of them that hate thee, the daughters of the Philistines, which are ashamed of thy lewd way. Thou hast played the whore also with the Americans, because thou wast unsuitable here. Thou hast played the harlot with them, and yet couldst not be satisfied. Thou hast moreover multiplied thy fornication in the land of the Americans, and in China, and in Africa, and in the Bahamas, Jamaica, and the Caribbean islands, and yet thou wast not satisfied therewith. How weak is thine heart, said Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, seeing thou hast all these things, the work of an imperious, whorish woman, in that thou buildest thine intimate place in the head of every way, and makest thy high place in every street, and has not been as an harlot, in that thou scornest hire, but as a wife that committeth adultery, which taketh a stranger's head instead of her husband. They give gifts to all whores, but thou givest thy gifts to all thy lovers, and hirest them, that they may come unto thee on every side for thy whoredom. And the contrary is in thee from other women, and thy whoredoms, whereas none followeth thee to commit whoredoms. And in that thou givest a reward, and no reward is given unto thee, therefore thou art contrary. Wherefore, O harlot, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh, because thy filthiness was poured out, and thy nakedness discovered through the whoredom, and the whorings of thy lovers, and with all the idols of thy abominations, and by the blood of thy children, which thou didst give unto them. Behold, therefore, I will gather all thy lovers, with whom thou hast taken pleasure, and all them that thou hast loved, and all them that thou hast hated. I will even gather them round about against thee, and will discover thy nakedness unto them, that they may see all thy nakedness. And I will judge thee as women that break wedlock, and shed blood as are judged, and I will give thee blood and fury and jealousy. And I will also give thee into their hand, and they shall throw down thy intimate place, and shall break down thy high places. They shall strip thee also of thy clothes, and shall take thy fair jewels, and leave thee naked and bare. They shall also bring up a company against thee, and they shall stone thee with stones, and thrust thee through with their swords, and they shall burn thine houses with fire, and execute judgments upon thee in the sight of many women. And I will cause thee to cease from playing the harlot, and thou also shalt give no hire any more. So will I make my fury toward thee to rest, and my jealousy shall depart from thee, and I will be quiet, and will be no more angry. Why? Because thou hast not remembered the days of thy youth, but hast fretted me in all things, all these things. Behold, therefore, I also will recompense thy way upon thine head, saith Yahweh, and thou shalt not commit this lewdness above all thine abominations. Behold, everyone that uses Proverbs shall use this proverb against thee, saying, as is the mother, so is her daughter. Thou art thy mother's daughter. Thou lovest her husband and her children. And thou art the sister of thy sisters, with both of their husbands and their children. Their mother was a Hittite, and their father an Amorite. And thine elder sister is American, and she and her daughters that dwell at thy left hand, and thy younger sister that dwell at thy right hand is Sodom and her daughters. Yet hast thou not walked after their ways, nor done after their abominations, but as if they were a very little thing, thou wast corrupted more than they in all thy ways. As I live, said Yahweh, Sodom, thy sister, hath not done, she nor her daughters, as thou hast done, thou and thy daughters. Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom, pride, fullness of bread, and abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy, and they were haughty and committed abomination before me. Therefore I took them away as I saw good. Neither hath America committed half of thy signs and sins, but thou hast multiplied thine abominations more than they, and hast justified thy sisters in all thine abominations which thou hast done. Thou also, which hast judged thy sisters, bear thine own shame for thy sins, that thou hast committed more abominable than they. They are more righteous than thou. Here, be thou confounded also, and bear thy shame, in that thou hast justified thy sisters. When I shall bring again their captivity, the captivity of Sodom and her daughters, and the captivity of America and her daughters, then will I bring again the captivity of thy captives, in the midst of them,
Glory.
that thou mayest bear thine own shame, and mayest be confounded in all that thou hast done, and that thou art a comforter to them. When thy sisters, Sodom and her daughters, shall return to their former estate, and America and her daughters shall return to their former estate, then thou and thy daughters shall return to your former estate. For thy sister Sodom was not mentioned by thy mouth in the day of thy pride. Before thy wickedness was discovered, as at the time of thy reproach of the daughter of Syria, and all that are round about her, the daughters of the Philistines which despise thee round about. Thou hast borne thy lewdness and thine abominations, saith Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. For thus saith Mem Yod-Kaf-Yod-Wah-Heh, I will even deal with thee as thou hast done, which has despised the oath in breaking the covenant of Abraham. Nevertheless, I will remember my covenant with thee in the days of thy youth and with Abraham, and I will establish unto thee an everlasting covenant. Then thou shalt remember thy ways, and be ashamed, when thou shalt receive thy sisters, thine elder and thy younger, and I will give them unto thee for daughters, but not by thy covenant. And I will establish my covenant with thee, and thou shalt know that I am Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, the God of the Hebrews, said Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, that thou mayest remember and be confounded, and never open thy mouth any more because of thy shame, when I am pacified toward thee for all that thou hast done, said Mem Yod-Kaf-Yod-Wah-Heh. Praise the Lord. I pray that this message got across to our people today. It's documented. It's written. There's no way to escape it. We want to say to those who joined us today and pray that this gets to your soul, that you'll stick a secret to your souls.
Glory.
It doesn't matter who you think I am. But what does matter is who you saw today on this video. That's what matters.
It does, man.
You just better ask somebody. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
For those who are awake, who are waiting and patiently, continue to endure to the end. That's what the race is for. For those who can endure to the end. Not for the strong or swift, but those who can endure to the very end. Praise the Lord.
Praise the
But
Lord.
again, for the record, this is the 10th day of the first month of our new year, next year, 6024, also known as Sunday, March 21st, 2021. With that said, always remember, your Ahab, Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. He Ahabs you, he loves you, and so do I. Mem Yod-Kaf-Yod-Wah-Heh, and so do all. Shalom Aleichem.
Alaikum salam.
Praise